What's going on, guys? Let's jump right into this topic. Should you be jumping into collecting temporal forces right now, or should you wait a while? So this is not going to be an argument of whether I think temporal forces is good or not. My personal opinion is going to be different from other people's personal opinions and preferences. I personally do not like temporal forces. I can appreciate some of the cards. A friend of mine came by the bar the other night and showed me some of the SIRs, including the infamous Iron Crown, which is kind of, I guess we're dubbing as the Moon Crown now. Because it has the moon behind it and it has that similar effect that the Umbreon had from Evolving Skies, even though I'm just not really seeing it. The cards don't really appeal to me very much, but I can appreciate all the artworks regardless, and I can appreciate the fact that it is a tough set to pull these cards from. It's a tough set to actually get the chase cards from. The pull rate data is insane right now. I can understand that the meta and the playability is going to be drastically changed with the introduction of some of these newer cards. I think this is definitely a player's set for sure. That's one thing that I don't want to argue about at all. I think it's definitely a player set, and the players need a good set, right? That's what the game is about. It's really more, in my opinion, about playing than collecting, but lately in this hobby, the environment has become more about money, investing, collecting, and that's really where I think a vast majority of the passion lies. But if you're like me and you went to regionals, then you would see that there are a ton of people from all over the world coming to play this game. We had regionals here in Charlotte, so I was lucky enough that it was very convenient for me to just pop down the street 5-10 minutes and boom, I'm at regionals, and I saw that the place was packed full of people from all over the world playing Pokemon. So that was something that I previously probably could not have imagined. Did not realize that so many people were still into playing the TCG seriously. And you'd say, well, Orion, of course there are people who are into playing the TCG, but from my perspective, mainly as a collector, really only as a collector, I just automatically assume and consider that most people are in this hobby collecting, buying, investing, sitting on sealed product. But that's just the environment that I see. I guess that's what, the type of content that's popping up in my feed. But is this a set that you want to collect and invest in right now? No. In my opinion, no, it's not. I don't think it's a good time to jump on the bandwagon if you're not even playing with any of these cards, or maybe don't even appreciate the set that much. If you're like me, and it's not that you hate the set's just not really for you. This is actually the first modern set that I've sat out on entirely in a long time. I pretty much give every single set a chance, and I imagine that I'll probably buy a case of Temporal Forces or at least one booster box of it, just so that I'm continuing to do what I said I would do a long time ago, which was, now that I'm back into Pokemon, this was years ago, I'm going to set out to at least have one of every booster box moving forward. Not because I have to have one of every booster box, more so just because it's like, why not? The prices are cheap, they're available now. Why sit out on the opportunity to own a little piece of Pokemon history with each set as it moves forward? Even though it does seem like we're constantly getting hit with a new set, when you look at the timeline of sets and how they're spread out, it's really not that bad. It's pretty manageable. But I'm also still amidst finishing my own collection goals, which is a big reason why I'm sitting out on this set. But right now, I think that we're seeing inflated prices on TCG Player, which and maybe on eBay as well. I would be aware, as prices usually kind of rocket off the first couple days and then they drop off over the next couple weeks. So while Temporal Forces is kind of defying what we typically see with pricing, I would say that and 151 both did that, but 151 was more understandable in my opinion. 151 was super nostalgic, and I expected it to hold up well and be a long-term investment. I think that set is absolutely goated, but when we look at Temporal Forces, I don't really understand why the prices are where they're at. Some people are saying that there was some shill buying, there was some inflated sales. My buddy that was showing me these cards last night, he even loves the set, but even he admitted while we were sitting at the bar, he was like, but some of the prices definitely aren't adding up, even though I'm really stoked because he pulled the SIRs that you want to pull. He pulled that Iron Crown. He pulled the other one, which is basically Terrakion, but I forget what that futuristic name was for the set. And he also showed me the Paldean Fates Mew in person, which I hadn't seen in person yet. And man, the Paldean Fates Mew is absolutely stunning. I have got to get my hands on that card now. That and the Gardevoir looks so good. I will say I did like that about Paldean Fates. But the chase cards really shouldn't define the set. There are so many aspects that can make a set good, including the illustration rares, or like we had in Sword and Shield, all of the trainer galleries. But anyways, there's a sick, I know there is one card in Temporal Forces that I actually really do like, and it is the SIR trainer card, featuring the Gengar. That card looks sick. Also, the Ghastly is pretty dope, and that Ghastly is actually like a $20 card right now. That is kind of believable to me. I think Ghastly is a super popular Pokemon. I think that whole line, Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar, is a super popular lineup. But yeah, we're seeing some inflated prices. People are saying it's a short print run. It's hard cards to pull. I think it's just pumping because people really don't like the set that much, other than the people that are using it for playability and to switch up the meta and change up and build their new decks. I don't see this as being a really popular set that's skyrocketing the way that people might think it is. And already we're seeing prices start to come down a little bit. This is relevant. I wanted to talk about Mercari today, but I'll probably do that tomorrow, as I think that'll be big for sellers moving forward. In terms of selling online in general, but mainly with this hobby and selling Pokemon products. So we're going to talk about that probably tomorrow. But I felt like this was relevant, and I haven't done any Temporal Forces openings. Typically, whenever a new set comes out, I do want to be right on top of it when I'm opening products. But lately, I've just been dead set on completing my 151 Master Set by pulling every single card. And then, of course, my personal collection goals. I have some hefty, expensive collection goals, and honestly, I can't do it all. I can't collect Modern. I can't buy stuff to open for streams every week. I can't rip through product and save up for the cards that I really, really want. So I'm just going to be honest here and say that I am really choosing to save up for the cards that I want, because one day I might not be able to afford them at all. So I'm going to go after that. And then once I kind of complete my collection goals, there's a couple cards on my list. I need a Crystal Celebi, Gold Star Mew, Gold Star Umbreon, Gold Star Rayquaza, Gold Star Charizard, Gold Star Vaporeon, and Gold Star Celebi. And then I'm done with the Gold Stars and the Crystals once I get the Crystal Celebi. And then I need a first edition Charizard. And it sounds ridiculous, I need a first edition Charizard. But guys, these are goals that I set out years ago and are finally starting to get close to coming to fruition. So that's way more important to me than the Modern sets coming out. And I urge you to think about that. If you do like Modern cards, that's fantastic. Go for collecting one of every set. Give every set a chance. It's something that I always say. Even if I don't really like the set like Temporal Forces, I still plan to give it a chance and probably open it up when I get a chance, when it's financially feasible for me and I'm kind of done with my other goals. But if you're not a huge fan of Modern, and you know that deep down, like maybe you like this stuff, you can appreciate some of it, but really there's only a few sets you really like, but your passion is in the vintage aspect of Pokemon trading cards, then like me, you might want to set kind of a budget aside to go after those cards that you really, really want, that are going to mean more to you in the long run. What I'm learning more recently is that these sets are going to come out, and then over the next couple months, they're going to drop in price. I think you're probably, your best bet with Temporal Forces would probably be to buy like a couple months down the line. In a year or two, I expect prices to start, flatlining or, moving sideways and starting to move up a little bit. But over the next couple months, from what we've seen time and time again in this hobby, we've seen prices fall on Modern sealed products, and I think the same thing is going to happen with Temporal Forces. I think it's what always happens. It wouldn't surprise me. Prices just dump. We're seeing that happen with Paldean Fates right now. Prices on Paldean Fates are dropping right now. If you really wanted that Charizard and a PSA 10, which I'm not really a big fan of the shiny Charizard and Paldean Fates, I'm really more on top of the Mew and the Gardevoir than the Charizard this time around, which is odd for me because I am a Charizard fanboy. But if you're looking for that card in a PSA 10, prices are dropping right now. It'd be a good time to maybe consider buying that card. But history repeats itself. This has happened time and time again with all these modern sets. And now we're seeing with Sword and Shield, 2-3 years down the line, these prices start to rise. Alt arts will start to probably rise. Sealed product rises. That makes sense. That's completely normal to see that sealed product is inevitably going to rise at some point. That's a dangerous thing to say. Most sealed product, especially popular sets, are going to rise at a certain amount of time. Products that aren't very popular, let's say maybe Shining Fates, Pokemon Go, some of the stuff that I've had to sit on, I realize now is just stuff that I just impulse bought, but really aren't the best modern sets to sit on in the long term. And so you kind of, when you're investing in this hobby, you have to distinguish what sets are going to be good to invest in. Now, I will say, Paradox Rift, Temporal Forces are really kind of the first of their kind, the futuristic type sets. I think that's, it makes them very special. And they could be looked back on as really, really good sets down the line. Paradox Rift, similar to Temporal Forces, was super playable. People may also remember it for that, but I'm worried that once the set is less playable and not relevant anymore, that for collectability, for collectors, it's just not really going to be a solid play. Now, pull rates are also really, really tough. Is that necessarily a good thing for collecting this product? I'm not sure, right? And that's not really anything new for any of us that have been around for a while now. Pull rates have always been tough with pretty much all of Pokemon's products. And I'd be willing to say that pull rates actually get tougher because last night we opened a 151 UPC. Last night was sick. Can I just say that last night was an absolutely epic stream. Thank you guys for coming out for that. Celebrating this channel hitting 5,000 subs. That is absolutely epic. I can't believe that. But then again, I have put in the work. I've made like 700 videos, I think, at this point. I don't even know how many, but I know it's over 600, might be 700 at this point. But absolutely epic stream. We opened 2 base set heavy packs. I'd plan on opening just one, but we opened 2 of those, a Charizard UPC and the 151 UPC. They weren't the best, but one thing I do want to say is I think with that UPC, things were definitely worse than they typically are. And people have talked about this, but I think that Wave 1 products, like when products initially get released, they're a lot better. So I will say that about Temporal Forces, that one of the only pros, in my opinion, of buying the set now is if you're going to open it, there's high playability, so players do need singles. So if you opened it just to have fun and to sell cards, you probably would do well to do that now. But if you're sitting on it, I don't know, just because it might not be as relevant down the road, but there is also the aspect of Wave 1 products. And so to make this short, when Pokemon sets first come out, they're considered Wave 1. Okay? As months continue, as we get more reprints, as we get more supply, as stuff keeps hitting the shelves months later, we consider those second and third wave products. And typically there's this mythology, this theory that, a rumor really, that, which I still don't even know if this is factual, so don't take my word for it 100%, but a lot of people are very confident in saying that the first wave release of products is always better and has better pull rates and better quality than the next waves. I don't know if I fully believe that, but I definitely feel like I'm experiencing a little bit of that as I continue to open Sword and Shield products and packs that I got months after the releases, and as I open 151 after now it's been out for a couple months, I'm noticing the products are kind of bad. My pulls in general, my luck in general is not great. And I think it's kind of awesome because it's I'm a, I'm a channel with a decent following that doesn't get the best pulls, right? I have, someone said it great in the stream last night. It's a shame that Orion has such standard luck. I wish I could be, I wish I could be the absolute, the chase card hunter, but that just doesn't end up being the case for me. But I will say 151 has been really good to me, and that UPC last night was tough, and it makes me think that later wave products aren't as good. So maybe temporal forces would be good to buy now while it's in that first wave. I don't know. People are saying it's a short print run. Maybe it'll be less available down the line. Maybe it'll actually go up in price sooner because it'll be a short print run. So there's a lot of speculation in this hobby, and there's a lot of theorizing, and I think it's safe to say that you can speculate all you want, but to tell people that they should be buying temporal forces right now, or really any set right after it comes out, isn't really the best advice. So people should definitely be a little cautious. And again, ask yourself, do you just want this set because it's the new hottest thing and it's relevant, or do you genuinely love the cards in this set? If you genuinely love the cards in this set, then absolutely go for it, open it, have fun with any set. Like with any set, sometimes it's just worth the gamble in the moment when the set comes out to enjoy it, because in 10, 20 years, we'll all look back and say, oh, I collected and I invested in all this product. But how many of us are actually opening product? I think that is a special thing still, even though pull rates are so damn horrific. Like, it makes honestly no sense to open packs because the pull rates are so bad and they continue to be bad. And that's what creates card rarity, even though I kind of think that's a load of baloney. 151 had really, really good pull rates, and it didn't change anything. The cards have stayed stable, remained stable, and will probably go up in value as time moves on, as I consider 151 the modern base set of Scarlet Violet. Anyways, guys, that's kind of my take on temporal forces. There was an unusually high sale on a TCG player, and there's talks of people buying out the stock on TCG player. They put up, I guess, some kind of newsletter, a post that prices were moving up on singles, right? If a site that sells cards is saying that prices are going up, that we can always infer that there's going to be a little bit of manipulation in there, a little bit of artificial inflation there. So, that can happen in the stock market, and that's something that is now coming to the Pokemon market. We're seeing more and more manipulation and less of what I would think would be a normal retrace in the hobby. I mean, after the pandemic, after the boom, I expected a lot of prices to just absolutely plummet. I expected people to really rotate back out of the hobby, but we're not seeing that. The hobby is apparently very strong right now, which is a little bit of a shocker to me, but I'm happy that's the case. But me and others definitely hypothesized that the hobby was cooling down, and a lot of my friends have been selling big chunks of their collections just to be a little bit more liquid if anything does change, right? Because how crappy would it be if, again, I bring this up a lot, but first edition Charizard base set, that card $30,000 to $50,000 dropped like a rock, after the pandemic ended. And I think a lot of people, people that are really into the hobby and staying on top of it, that's a really historical grail card. When the card like that drops like a rock, you have to ask yourself what's going to happen with the rest of the hobby. So I think a lot of people were just being cautious. But I think we can see now a little bit of encouragement that there's still a lot of popularity in this hobby, even with Scarlet Violet, in my opinion, being a little bit lackluster. There's still incredible popularity in this hobby, even after we've been punished with horrific pull rates from all of these modern sets. People still generally love this hobby, love collecting, and it seems like it is growing, and we're seeing an influx of new people collecting, investing, and playing, and so that's all good and all. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with temporal forces. Let me know what you guys think about the temporal forces singles prices. Are these prices going to hold up? Is the print run being short? Is that going to help? Are the pull rates going to help? I feel like that's a little bit irrelevant, And I feel like if people are going to like the set, they're going to like the set. But for the most part, those factors can be had with any of the older sets other than the short print run. Like the harsh pull rates, that's nothing new that we've experienced. But maybe it will have something to do in the set. I don't want to blow off other information like the short print run and the harsh pull rates, but I just don't think that Temporal Forces has the juice. Anyways, peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one.